parallel session of the 7th International Language and Language Teaching Conference in this Zoom meeting. My name is Hannah. As moderator, I am a 7th semester student of English Language Education Study Program. I will be in charge of this parallel session. Before we start this parallel session, let me read the rules. First, each presentation will last for 15 minutes. Second, 3 presentations will be delivered in a row. Third, we will have Q&A session after the presentations have finished. Fourth, other rules can be found in the program book. I would like also to inform you that the chat box will be opened for you to address your questions. You may address your question by typing your name, underscores affiliation, underscores to whom the questions will be addressed, and then followed by your questions. Okay, there are 3 presentations in this room. Will be delivered by Mr. Samit Chomu, Warli Bram, Karlasi Prabandari, Truly Almendo Pasaribu, and Susilawati. Without further ado, let's start with the first presentation entitled Discourse Markers in Academic and Non-Academic Writings of Thai EFL Learners. It will be delivered by Mr. Samit and Warli Bram from Sanata Dharma University. Mr. Samit and Mr. Warli, you have 15 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you, Hannah. There is a prayer now, I'm sorry, because I live near the mosque, but it's okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I hope we are all in good condition. And welcome to our presentation. My name is Sumit Chomu.
Sir, actually, we haven't seen it in a full screen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's totally fine, sir.
Okay. I'm a master student. Okay, I'm a master student of English Education, Sanata Dharma University. I'm from Thailand. And today I'm here with Mr. Bali Bram to share with you a study that we have conducted together in the title, Discourse Marker in Academic and Non-Academic Writings of Thai EFL Learners. And today's presentation will be cover the background of the study, literature review, methodology, findings and discussion, and conclusion. Well, to begin with, writing has been recognized to be a demanding task for ESL and EFL learner. Even native speakers who use English as mother tongue judge writing as the more challenging language skill. Moreover, what makes the writing more difficult is the lack of additional means of non-verbal expression, such as gesture and facial expression, to make sure that the message is accurately understood. Okay, now, it is worth noting that the academic success of EFL learners at the university level is mostly assessed by testing how well they are able to express themselves in various types of writing assignments, such as academic papers, reports, reflection, and essay. Because, therefore, teachers have tried to assist their students in developing writing skills, especially in academic and non-academic, which are found to be fundamental, and they are required in almost every activity during the study periods. But however, to produce quality writing, it requires more than just the ability of the students to create sentences appropriately in the standard language, but they also need the ability to use cohesive devices to create cohesion and coherence of a text. because sentences without unity and connection might be impossible for the reader to comprehend the organization of text. Therefore, cohesion and coherence have to be taken into consideration. Well, actually, cohesive devices have been viewed in the literature using different terms such as linking words, discourse connectors, or cohesive elements. But in this study, we use the term discourse markers, which refers to linguistics devices used to connect clauses and sentence together to create a standard discourse. Or sometimes we can refer discourse marker to the glue that sticks different parts of text into one well-organized piece of writing. Um, in Thai EFL learners context, several studies have found that Thai students, even at the advanced level, have a difficulty in academic writing at the level of text organization and cohesion. So the use of discourse marker is often ignored by both Thai teachers and learners. Conducting more study regarding discourse marker is crucial. And also, to the best knowledge of us, no previous study investigate the use of discourse marker in academic and non-academic writing of Thai students. Actually, there are some studies, but they study compare Thai students with Indonesian university learners, or compare Thai students with the native speakers, or they investigate the discourse marker used in students' conversation. So this study, we attempt to shed more light on the use of discourse marker used in academic and non-academic writings of Thai EFL learners. By comparing, we try to explore the types, overall frequency, and similarities and differences of discourse markers in both style of writing. So for literature review part, it will be delivered by Mr. Bali Brown.
Yeah, thank you, Sumit.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can you hear me, everyone? I hope it's okay.
We could hear you, Mr.
So we move to literature review. After reading a number of references and relevant previous studies, Sumit and I then decided to use theories or concepts suggested by Fraser 2009. So in that taxonomy, there are three main categories of markers. Okay? The first, CDMs, plurals. Yeah. CDM standing for contrastive discourse markers such as but and however. And the second category, EDMs, standing for elaborative, or elaborative discourse markers such as the conjunction and besides. The third type is what we call, in a short form, IDMs, standing for inferential discourse markers. Two examples are so, thus, okay, thus not thus kepala, thus with THUS. Dengan demikian maybe in Indonesia. And there are two other minor types, like TDM, temporal, like time, finally, and SDM, spoken discourse markers, like well, actually. Okay, that's all from me. I'll hand over to Sumit. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Pak Bali, for your explanation. So now we proceed to the methodology. The participants in this study were 20 student third year undergraduates majoring in English at Xavier Learning Community. This is the picture of them. And they had exposed to several courses involving writing skills. I mean, like we have grammar 1, structure 1, basic writing, and also critical reading and writing 1. So the primary data were 60 writing essay as shown in the table. 20 academic writings were taken from student argumentative essays in the critical reading and writing 1 course. And meanwhile, 40 non-academic writings were taken from the XLC newsletter issue from issue 12 to 18. The reason why as you see in the table, the reason why the quantity of non-academic essays was larger than the academic ones, because we want to provide the balance of the total number of words in the purpose of comparison. Next, the framework of analysis, we use the Fraser 2009, and he classified the use of discourse marker into 3 categories: contrastive discourse, elaborative discourse, and inferential discourse markers. But in this study, we include the temporal discourse markers and spoken discourse markers, because they also show the discourse relations and help create cohesion in the text. This is the example of the discourse. So findings and discussion. This is the overall findings, the number of discourse marker that we found in this study. We found 2,521 total number of discourse marker. But however, the learners employ more discourse marker in academic essay. To be more specific, the total frequency of discourse marker in academic was 1,524, but on the other hand, only 997 for non-academic essay. The first dominant markers in both style of writing were elaborative discourse marker, as we can see in the table, and the second was inferential discourse marker, and the third was constructive discourse marker, and the 2 last discourse marker were temporal discourse marker and spoken discourse markers. Now we will see, we'll take a look at how each type we use in the essay with the example. So this table shows the result of CDMs. We found 324 in the essay, and we found that the marker but was highly used in both writing, with a slightly different numbers of frequency, 100 and 212 and 112.
Sorry, Mr. Samit, your time is 5 minutes left.
Okay, I'll go faster. Okay, this is the example of how they use the masker CDMs in the essay. We can see from the example 1 that they use but to connect to show the contrast of the sentence. And interestingly, in example 3 and 4, you can find that in the other hand was used wrongly here. It should be on the other hand. And example 4, we found that they add the in the other hands instead of using on the other hand, and also they forgot to convert the verb reduce into reduces. Okay, so this is the next is EDMs. We found that EDMs were the most frequent DM types with 67% in the total. And so we are going to look at how they use. We can see from example 5 that and was overused because when Thai people say in conversation, they tend to use and to connect the sentence. For example, they use and, but in Thai we will say la. So we can conclude that the L1 interference influence the overuse of and here. And this is another example of EDMS used in the sentence. Next, the IDMs, the result of IDMs here, we found several, and we also found that some IDMs were not found in non-academic essay. We also found the overuse of the marker because in the essay, they tend to use too much rely on the use of because again and again. So next, TDMs. This is the result of TDMs. This is interesting that the only one of the discourse marker type that used higher in non-academic than in academic essay. And this is some example that we found here. They use the TDMS to show the sequence of the stories here. So the last one is SDMs. This is the list of discourse markers that they use here in the essay. Only 30, if I'm not mistaken, 39, sorry, in 60 essays. And they tend to use the word I think to show their personal opinion. And this is the result. So what we would like to conclude here is that we found different writing genre affect the use of discourse marker in numbers, and we found the superiority of discourse marker in academic writing over non-academic writings. And the nature of academic writing expect the learners to use more discourse markers. So we conclude that to diminish the overuse of certain discourse marker, we have to find the alternative teaching methods and strategies to raise students' awareness of wide-ranging types of markers in their writing. Also, the teachers should pay more attention to teach the function and purpose of each discourse marker, so the student will be able to use them appropriate context. And then we hope that this study would provide a better understanding of the use of each type of discourse marker and would enhance the learner's competency in producing effective and coherent academic and non-academic essay. Okay, thank you. This is the end of the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sumit and Mr. Barley, for your enlightening presentation. I believe that we need to pay more attention into discourse markers, especially to the use of cohesive devices in our writings. Okay, so now we are going to move to the second presentation. It is entitled Logical Mechanism and Intertextual References in Political Jokes of Indonesian Presidential Election Campaigns. It will be delivered by Barley Bram, Karlasi Prabandari, and Truly Almendo Pasaribu from Sanata Dharma University. For the presenter, you have 15 minutes. So, Miss Truly, Miss Carla, and Mr. Barley, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello again. Uh,
Hello, sir.
Now, yes, three of us, yeah. Butruli, yeah. Just say hello, Butruli.
Hi.
Yeah, Butruli, and then Bukarla. Are you somewhere there, Bukarla? Okay, Bukarla maybe might join us soon. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'll start because we should keep moving. As the moderator has mentioned, our presentation is entitled Logical Mechanism and Intertextual References in Political Jokes of the Indonesian Presidential Election Campaigns. This was last year, actually. Okay. Next, please. So our presentation will follow that structure more or less. We'll start with a concise introduction and then followed by the literature review, and then we will also cover how we did the study, the method things, and then we'll present the findings and kind of discussion as well. And then we will end our presentation with some closing remarks. Okay, this the short introduction. Why we decided to do research on that particular topic. Because humor or jokes in general helps, or if singular, humor helps and jokes and help all of us to form opinions and also engage ourselves in political discourses. So if through jokes, maybe we'll become interested in political topics. Otherwise, we might feel I'm not in politics, so I'm not going to talk about that. But if we deliver messages through jokes, humor, and then we might draw other people's attention. And then we remember that we did the research last year, in 2019. As we all know that our political temperature, metaphorically speaking, was heating up because there are two strong candidates trying to win the votes of the Indonesian people. The two candidates were, as all of us, I think, still remember, Joko Widodo, our current president, who won the election, and also one of the ministers now is Prabowo Subianto, or PS. That's it. And then we will also try to solve two problems in our research. The first research questions is, what are the logical mechanisms used in the political jokes of the 2019 presidential election campaigns? And the second, how do the political jokes construct intertextual references? Those are the two problems we are going to solve. Okay, thank you. I will give back the rest to my co-presenters, Butruli and Bukarla. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Barli, for the interesting introduction. So Pak Barli has mentioned two research questions that we investigate. Yeah. So to answer the research questions, we use two theories. The first one is general verbal theory of humor, and the second one is the theory of intertextuality. So general verbal theory of humor, or GVTH, investigate humor in 6 layers. So you can see on your screen the layers that we investigate. The first one is script opposition. Yeah. So the binary concepts which allow incongruity to take place. Some examples of these oppositions are good or bad, and win or lose. Yeah. The second one is the logical mechanisms of the humor. So when we talk about logical mechanism, we talk about linguistic manipulation in the phonological, morphological, syntax, and semantic levels. The next one is the situation, yeah, or the social dimensions around the joke. So situation is the social context around the jokes, such as the participants and also the activities. Yeah. After that, we also try to analyze the target of the humor or the butt of the humor. Yeah, the butts of the humor or the targets are usually explicit, especially in political humor that we investigate. The next one is the narrative strategy. As the name suggests, we try to analyze the forms of the humor. Yeah, the structure of humor can be found in different forms, such as question and answers, or simple narratives, riddles. Yeah, the knock knock jokes. Yeah, maybe you remember them. Yeah. And we also talk about the language. The language is the one that we use, that we see directly at the surface structure, like the setup and also the punchline. So, beside investigating the six layers, we also try to investigate the intertextuality of humor. So, how humor is conveyed, in reference to other texts. Yeah. So, if the audience of the humor fails to interpret the references, they may not know what makes the humor funny. So, in this case, humor is very context bound. You need to know the context. So, that's the second thing that we're going to investigate. Now, let's talk about how we collected the data. Yeah, so we collect the data by visiting websites and social media. We follow some political Instagram, yeah, and also we try searching for the memes in Google Web, yeah, and also um, we selected relevant political jokes, yeah, if it is relevant with uh, 2019 elections, then we use it as our data, yeah, and after that we inventorying the collected political jokes in a file. So we use Excel to collect our files, yeah, and we analyze the data by first identifying their logical mechanism, and then second one by uh, categorizing the intertextual references of the jokes, yeah. After we were done with these steps, we found out that there are um, 59 jokes, yeah, and we can classify those jokes in these seven logical mechanisms, yeah, like faulty reasoning, false analogy, pun, ambiguity, negations, exposing hidden fact, and exaggeration. We'll talk about that one by one, yeah, in brief, yeah. So the first one is faulty reasoning. As the name suggests, faulty reasonings manipulate the logic of a discourse to create humor. As you can see in the picture, this humor highlights Prabowo's statement that contain errors. Prabowo uses a conditional sentence that is not really true. Yeah, in fact, he had lost some elections before the 2019 election. So in this case, we classify this humor into the faulty reasoning category. The second one is false analogy. When we talk about analogy, we talk about comparison between two things because they share some similarities. Yeah, false analogy appears when the similarities are extended while ignoring the differences. So,
Sorry, Miss.
Yeah.
Your presentation time is 5 minutes left.
Oh, yeah, okay. So Jokowi and Joker are two different characters, but they are compared because of the similarity they share, that is distributing the cards, yeah. However, the comparison is violating logic as Joker is the antagonist in the movie, yeah. In this case, the meme wants to highlight that the distributions of the card is tricky, yeah. And then the next one is pun, yeah. Pun is the play of words, yeah. So it occurs in phonological level and also morphological level. So the memes here manipulate the brand Buka Lapak, as you know, yeah, into Bukan Bapak, yeah. This meme creates this pun to highlight that Jokowi would not be president any longer, yeah. Okay, the next one is, yeah, the next one is pun in the morphological level. Yeah, so this meme exploits the abbreviation from Partai Keadilan Sejahtera to Partai Kaos Sejahtera. Yeah, the next one is ambiguity. This humor make use of semantic ambiguity. Yeah. So there are actually two kinds of ambiguity, semantic ambiguity and referential ambiguity. And the one that you see on the screen is the semantic ambiguity. Yeah. So it twists the word satu, yeah, or one. Satu can be interpreted as the number, as a number of the candidates, or it can also be interpreted as one, numerical, yeah, numerical noun, yeah. Okay, we also find some other humor that use other logical mechanisms like hidden facts or exaggeration or negation, yeah, like this. The candidates appeal, yeah. So that's the first elaborations on the first research question, yeah. The second research question, the answer for the second research question will be delivered by our partner, Bu Carla. Are you here, Bu Carla? I think Bu Carla is having a connection problem, yeah? So I'm gonna continue presenting. Is that okay, Pak Barli? Or maybe you want to present the answer to the second research problem? Okay, let me continue. So the second research problem talks about intertextuality, yeah. So in this case, yeah, we found that there are 27 categories, yeah, of political issues that are used to create humor. Again, intertextuality is the interrelation between a text and other texts. So this interrelationship is the basic principle of the joke creation. Yeah. So let's take a look at some references of the jokes. Yeah. There are 59 jokes and there are 27 categories of references. The first one is the cheat sheet for debate, and then debate on financial policies, election result dispute, trivial issues and personal attacks, and some others. Yeah, I'm gonna show you the 27 categories here. So some examples are cheat sheet for debate. Yeah. So many people are talking about the debates. Yeah, it is very heated. Yeah, and they are talking about the cheat sheet. Yeah, that's why it becomes one of the issue that is used in humors or jokes. Yeah. The second one is the debate on financial policies of each candidate. Yeah. So as you can see, um, the jokes, the memes bring up some financial issues. Yeah. And we also have election result dispute, as you can see in the humor here. So it is connected with other texts, yeah, that you can see on the screen as well. So the link is there. And we also have trivial issue and personal attack, like number one, Ibu Iriana, and number two, Ibu Oraono. Yeah. So we have this personal attack by manipulating the words, the pun. Yeah. Okay. So let me conclude because we are running out of time, right, Miss Hannah? So to conclude, the result shows that there are 59 memes or jokes, and the jokes can be categorized into 7 logical mechanisms. And we can also see the intertextuality or interrelation between texts, which become the fundamental principle of joke creations. And the success of identifying intertextuality determines our understanding of jokes. Let me end by quoting a quotation. Yeah, nothing is less serious than analyzing humor. Yeah, so don't expect when you analyze humor you will laugh. Yeah, but it's actually it can be a serious matter. Okay, thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you very much for your enlightening presentation. Thank you for help us understanding and also making a better jokes. Okay, and also for sharing a smile and laugh.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
So before we continue to the next presentation, I would like to remind you that you may address your question in the chat box. Okay, for the third presentation, it entitled Extensive Reading, a strategy to promote reading competency of pre-service teachers. It will be delivered by Ms. Susilawati from Sampurna University. For the presenters, you have 15 minutes. So, Ms. Susilawati, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hannah. Good afternoon, audience. Thank you for the time. Let me share this. I'm okay. Uh, all right. So I'm quite nervous here because I know that Sanata Dharma University is the home of extensive reading, and I learned this teaching approach from the 2018 conference when I attended LLTC. Is it fifth? I think so. Yeah. Um, so this is something new to our Sampurna University. Actually, we did this for a long time, but we didn't know what it is. We did a lot of literature circle, but then we tried to do something more about this extensive reading. So I tried to choose this, and I think I shared some of the implementations in ERA program. So let me start with my presentations with this quote from Beers, 2011. Um, he said that the ability to learn and create new ideas is the essential for 21st century. So I highlight this, the word to learn, because I think uh, I like to connect this with the literacy, because in the 21st century, literacy is the key to learning. So, and then Gail Tomskin mentioned about the balanced approach to literacy instructions. She mentioned about 10 components of balanced approach to literacy instructions, which are reading, phonics and other skills, vocabulary, comprehension, literature, content area study, writing, and spelling. And having this approach, and I thought that most of the components are related to reading. So as we know, reading is a receptive skills which does not require learners to produce language expressions directly. So it is important skill as well as difficult to assess, because we cannot ensure whether the students or the learners have the good reading skills unless we assess them through various types of assessment. So here I focus on the reading competence, and according to Philip and Barrios, 2011, page 88, reading competence is defined as understanding, using, reflecting, engaging with written text in order to achieve one's goals and to develop one's knowledge and potential and to participate in society. Uh, so I think I like this quote because the authors try to move from, try to move further about the reading competence. But again, based on Ohio Department of Education, reading competence include an understanding of phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. So if you see here, that closely related to balanced approach of literacy instructions. So what I did with this, because I'm from English language education, my students are pre-service teachers, and they have um, some challenges, but I try to put some of them here, like they have lack of motivations in reading and vocabulary knowledge, of course, because they don't like to read, and then they don't have enough vocabulary knowledge, and then that relates to vocabulary reading, lack of reading comprehensions, and then that goes to lack of writing skills. So that's interconnected between one challenge to the other. And uh, the challenge what we have as a lecturers in Sampurna University, we don't have um, a class or a course that focus on extensive reading. So we need to be creative. And then what I did for my students is to embed this. Okay, but before I think I'd like to review this. Extensive reading is a teaching approach, again, that is universally hailed as beneficial, important, and necessary. And then, of course, from Richard, extensive reading is intended to develop good reading habits to build up knowledge, vocabulary, and structure. So I thought that this can be a strategy to help the students, the pre-service teachers, to improve their reading competence. Okay, so these are the 10 characteristics of extensive reading, but of course, I could not apply all, but I hope that someday I could. And then, like I said before, how to implement ER in my course is to embed extensive reading in teaching English as a foreign language, a TEFL course. One of the topics or that we focus on TEFL is to teach how to teach reading. So I thought that before they teach reading, so they have to build their own reading competence. That's why I asked them to develop this reading competence or to improve their reading competence through extensive reading. So the steps are, I tried to introduce this to the free service teachers what ER is, and then because this happened during pandemic, and then I did this with online discussions. I gave them some reading materials, not really heavy, some websites. One of which is from Pak Willy Renandia's website, and then because again this is embedded program, we cannot have it throughout the semesters. But we are lucky to have this for 5 weeks. So I asked them to do this ER for 5 weeks, and then I gave them I put them as one type of assessment, or that I put in TEFL 1. As a follow-up, extensive reading activities, the pre-service teachers created book reports, excuse me, comic strip, storytellings, and puppet show. They can choose any activity that they like to do. Once after they read their book or their reading materials. But of course, for book reports, I asked them to do it for the first 3 weeks, and then the last 2 weeks I gave them choices. They could do comic strip, storytelling, and puppet show. So of course, these activities were done online. So this is how the pre-service teachers chose the reading materials. But again, I think I'm so impressed because they were able to find their own strategy on how to choose their own reading materials. They said that they look at the interesting book that attract their attentions, and then they try to read it. If they find 15 words that are confusing or difficult for them, and then they try to find another reading materials. And then they also try to choose reading or books, reading materials or books based on their interest or their favorite genre. So and then so these are the results, from their book reports, and then they did this storytelling. They upload it through YouTube, through Instagram, and then the comments from them is quite. I think I for the 5 week program, I know this is far from perfect, but I think I can see that they mentioned, or they stated that through this 5 week extensive program activities, they can gain vocabulary skills, and then of course they raise confidence in reading. And some said about they sharpen their reading skills, improve writing skills, and then one of the students said that she can develop the sense of author's words, and then the others said they could improve overall language competence. So I think again, this is not something that I think this is ongoing process, and then this is ongoing research activity that our university, or especially for our study program, needs to do. But then I think to me, I'm quite satisfied with this, and this is going to be a baseline study for our study program to conduct more ER activities apart from
Susilowati, sorry, your
yes.
time is 4 minutes left.
Okay, so yeah, I'm almost done. Yeah, so here apart from reading competence, like what I said before, the 21st century skills from the pre-service teachers were also developed here. They stated through ER, extensive reading, they could build their critical thinking skills. They could encourage communications because they um, and then be creative because some of the group try to create group storytelling. So they decided to read one book. They choose like a group of three pre-service teachers chose a book to read individually, but then at the end they tried to create a group storytelling. And then this is something that they said they could also promote their collaborations. And I'd like to end my presentations with this quote from Brodel. If you're going to get anywhere in life, I really love this quote. Okay, you have to read a lot of books. So thank you for the time, and I'll get back to Hannah. Yeah. Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much, Ms. Susilowati, for your engaging presentation. Okay, now it's time for questions and answers session. Once again, you may address your questions in the chat box, or you may also state it directly by clicking the reactions button, the raise hand reaction. Okay, so here in the chat box, we have already one question from Miss Rebecca Sarah Ayu from Sanata Dharma University. Thank you, Miss Rebecca, for your question. It is addressed to Mr. Sumit and Mr. Barley. She is thankful for your insightful presentation and also want to know your suggestion how to avoid these overused markers.
Okay, thank you, Miss Rebecca, for this critical question. Well, to answer this question, I think I myself as a future teacher or a teacher, I have to really understand the background of the student, the knowledge, how much they know about the discourse markers. And from this question, I have to reflect on myself that how much time did I allocate to my student to expose themselves to the different kind of discourse marker. Maybe in the future, we as a teacher, as I mentioned in the conclusion, that we have to find some strategy to help students and raise their awareness of using discourse marker. If we in the future maybe we can compare the result of taste of their writing quality and then the post-test after we introduce them the use of various discourse marker. So I'm pretty sure that the result will be different. They will be able to improve their quality of writing. Yes, this is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you
I
very
hope that
much.
I answered the question.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sumit, for your answer.
Add a bit.
Okay, Mr. Barley, please.
I'll try to add. It's okay, Sumit. And also, thank you, Rebecca, for the questions. How to avoid discourse markers overuse? It's a very short answer, but short questions. I mean, but the answer can be very long and difficult to answer. So I think I will try to add something like this. Remember, each of us is unique, right? So we will use language, use Indonesian, English, German, Spanish in a unique way, in our own way, our own style. Therefore, if we realize that, then we will then try to see what others are using, how they speak, how they write. If that's the case, then we will adjust ourselves, okay? We will see what commonly done by others and we will follow that. Therefore, by doing so, if we then notice that we have a lot of discourse markers in our writing, like however, yeah, in one page, we have 20 however. That's too much overuse. We might try to reduce some of them. And also, remember when we write, we speak also, we have messages to put across it, to deliver messages and to make our audience, our readers, our listeners remain interested, then we should also make our writing, our speaking interesting. Therefore, if we use too much of something, of anything, then we might bore our readers, our listeners. Therefore, we should remember that when we speak, we have audience or target audience, target readers. If we keep those things, then we will try to do our best to make our writing, our speaking more interesting. Some people can avoid using discourse markers overuse. You know what I mean, okay? We do it, okay? And next, we will go to the supermarket, okay? Okay. You see. Some people will repeat those markers over and over again. Yeah, sometimes can be annoying, but we should also respect others because everyone is unique. Maybe some people do overuse some discourse markers. Okay, Rebecca, what is your favorite discourse markers? Rebecca, you know?
My favorite discourse marker is and.
Oh,
Okay, I think that's enough. Thank you very much for the answer and the question. And here we still have 3 minutes left. Here we have a question from Mega Wulandari from Sanata Dharma University, and it is addressed to Miss Truly and also again Mr. Barley. What is the implication of political jokes to democracy of Indonesia? So, Mr. Barley and Miss Truly, you may answer it.
so
Okay.
Carla, yeah.
Maybe Bukarla is here with us.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Bukarla, you may
Women
want to say something.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for the question, Ibu Mega. So the question is, what is the implication of political jokes to Indonesian democracy? In general, we can see that the use of jokes that we find in the media during this hot season of the election, it can reduce the tension among the supporters or the loyalists. And well, the implication here is that we have to, as language users, for example, we have to be able to see that the other aspects when we face a certain issue. So sometimes what we see as negative from one side, it can be positive from the other side. So in this case, it can make us more open-minded. And then in terms of language teaching, we can also see that we can use this in teaching language so that we can always be aware of the role of shared knowledge among language users. So we can see that if without sharing knowledge, communication can be difficult. What is fun or what is funny may not be accepted that way if we do not have the shared knowledge. I hope it helps. So maybe Pak Barli or Putruli can add.
Okay, Miss, I think it is enough because of the time limit for the question and answer session. So hopefully that could answer Miss Mega's question. Okay, we are going to end this question and answer session. If you have any other questions, you may address them through emails that we have provided in the program book. So before we end this parallel session, let's take a picture together. So you may open or show your face so we could see your beautiful and handsome faces. And I will count 1, 2, 3, and the operator will take the picture. Okay. Okay, I see some faces here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, is it enough? Okay, so thank you very much for the wonderful presentation and also the enthusiasm in this session. Hopefully it will be beneficial for all of us. After this, we are going to have a lunch break for an hour until 13:30 Western Indonesian time. And after that, we are going to start again at 13:30 with our 5th and 6th keynote speakers in the main Zoom meeting room. So with that being said, it is the end of our parallel session. Enjoy the rest of the conference. See you and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
presenter.
you and
Thank
bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I have a
Thank you.
Susi in the
Thank
chat.
you.
See? Thank you.
Oke, Pak. Iya.